Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast and on X at Dominioncast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Yeah, welcome to another beautiful Thursday morning right here on Dominion Television, your channel of choice, and this is Dominion Sport. I am Paul Abe Toluwanimi, and I have the man with unbiased analysis and undiluted reporter. Samson Balogun is the name, they call him official captain. Also, I have Fola Yegbe back in the studio this wonderful morning to talk sport on Dominion Television. A quick one, remember today's Thursday, so I'm going to be asking my expert analysts some few questions, on based on Thursday, Throwback Thursday. What's that one thing you remember, in the world of sport, might not be football, maybe boxing, maybe, cricket, maybe tennis, basketball. What's that one thing that you remember and forever remains in your mind and you always want to go back, maybe to watch, over the years? For you, Samson?
I think that would be Robin Van Persie's flying.
The World Cup.
Yeah, the World Cup.
Wow.
Yeah. Out of the blue, so many people thought he was just going to control the ball, find a way to place the ball into the net. But out of nowhere, the man told himself to a Spider-Man, and the ball was at the back of the net. And that also reminds me of Mario Balotelli's goal against Germany, I think.
Yeah.
From far away, and first touch and second touch, boom, the ball was at the back of the net, and you'll be like, this guy is not natural. But it still strikes me today that a player like Mario Balotelli really did not live to expectation because so many people expected him to do much more.
True.
Very talented, has this ability to get things done. Even when you thought nothing was going to happen, out of nowhere, he would always create a chance to probably get a goal. But then he should have actually, been better than that. Yeah.
All right. So, what about you? Fola, what about you?
Well, don't look at me as the one that is always going for, we are not expecting this one, why are you going for this one? Okay. My own is, it was the first night Vanessa Williams and Serena Williams, because growing up, the reason I actually enjoyed sports was because I was watching it with my dad.
Okay.
I wanted to always have, that relationship with my dad. So that night, I made sure I sat next to my dad.
Okay.
We were watching Serena Williams and Venus Williams that night.
Beautiful.
We made sure we watch it that night to the end.
Wow.
Because that night I was like, Venus is going to win. She's the elder sister. She's experienced and everything. But my dad was like, should we bet? was like, Daddy, I'm my dad. Why are we betting on? Why are we betting on Serena and Venus? They're sisters, they're family. Yeah. So it was that night, the first night that Venus and Serena had the US Open.
US Open, amazing.
And Serena finally won that night.
Beautiful, so. Beautiful. For you, if you're watching us, what's that one memory you can remember in the world of sports? You can just drop it right here in the comment section. And, I'm sure it's one thing you would always want to go back to. For me, that would be Manchester United against Chelsea at the Champions League final. Unexpected, Chelsea looking like they were going to pull that one through, but Manchester United, had to get that one on penalty shootout, and it happened, and they had to lift
I think that was Cristiano Ronaldo
era,
and then Frank Lampard,
the likes of that,
my boys.
All right, let's take stories from the local front. We're looking at Shooting Stars this wonderful morning ahead of their away game against Rivers United. We'll be building up to that till Friday, but there you have it on the screen. Their warm-up, their preparation, the training ahead of the game against Rivers United. Samson Balogun looking at the first 3 games for Shooting Stars. For you at this point in time, you look at everything Shooting Stars have been able to do this season and where they are at this point in time. Do you think it's all 3 points for them, or maybe a draw against Rivers United?
I think the best result they would get away from home, that would be a draw. I don't see them getting a maximum 3 points against Rivers United. Their recent performances hasn't really been, what you would expect. And, I would say Rivers United are several notches ahead of Shooting Stars as we speak, in terms of how they play, in terms of how coordinated that team is. I think Rivers United really didn't release too many players, so they still have a bulk of the players that played last season. So the chemistry is still there in the team. And most definitely, when they were recruiting, they got the kind of players that they knew were going to be an upgrade to those who left. So it's more or less like a team that is still yet to fulfill potential, but most definitely way ahead of Shooting Stars. And I don't see Shooting Stars coming back with the result. But then, as a sportscaster in Ibadan, you would always want to have something really nice to say about a team that is based in the town or city where you are based. So most definitely, I'm rooting for Shooting Stars to come back with a draw at least. But I don't see them coming back with a win.
For you, you look at Shooting Stars at this point in time, and you wonder what they need to do going forward. I was speaking with one of the media personality for Shooting Stars over the night, and I was trying to explain things to him. Why things like this for Shooting Stars? And he explained some few things to me. I was particular about the match analyst. Also, I said, it doesn't look like you have a match analyst, and he said, Radio Paps, if you understand this man, you know that he understands the game, because he studied in Barcelona. He went to Spain to study, and everything he analyzed in that game against Ikorodu City happened, but the players did not just do the job, and he also said, they gave an instruction that, he has 5 minutes to speak to the players, and he does not control the game, such. So maybe just that little time for them. But Fola, look at the lineup for Shooting Stars. You have the match analyst, you have the psychologist, you have the gym instructor, you have technical coach, you have sporting director, but yet the result is not turning out for Shooting Stars. What do they need to do going forward ahead of the away game against Rivers United?
Well, looking at what they've been doing so far, in my own opinion, they should go back to the drawing board, sit down and, this last, if I were the one, I'll say this last game, my players were tired. What should I do? I shouldn't use tired players. Apart from tired players, my players were wasting chances. What should I do? They should go back and just go to the drawing board and just, my players, this should not happen. The sports analyst, the psychologist, let's go back to the drawing board. How should we encourage these players to want to do more? Because these guys don't want to do anything. I'm telling you, they don't want to do anything. What should we do to let them want to do more? They don't want to do anything.
It's something, just a little bit on Shooting Stars at this point in time. Whilst speaking with the media, personnel of Shooting Stars, I also made a report about, the chairman, Honorable Lekon Salami, coming to the field of play, also the Sporting Lagos, also at the technical area, and he said that, honestly speaking, they've spoken to him about things like this, and it should not be. And do you think that measures like this, is affecting the game for Shooting Stars?
Let me put it this way. If you say it's affecting Shooting Stars, that would be an understatement. It's doing too much damage to the team. Now, what that brings to the table is the fact that pressure mounts from the top down to the players. Now, the chairman coming to the sideline is giving the sporting director a form of headache, and then the sporting director coming to the sideline gives the coach a problem. And then when the coach gets a problem, the technical crew has a problem, and that is passed down to the players. So now it's about 4 or 5 layers of headaches passed on, a few players on the field of play, just 11 of them.
If one person's having 4 headaches, so
now the problem is, I think the chairman has not really been schooled about what his role would be at Shooting Stars. He thinks he's the alpha and omega, is everything in the team. But most definitely someone has to call him to order and say, look, yes, you have been given a job, you want to succeed, but then play your role, let other people play their roles too. So you don't play their roles on their behalf. I saw, if there's a recording, I saw the chairman telling the coach to substitute. I mean, it's not your problem. That should not be your headache. There was a time Sadiq Ibrahim scored a goal. That was the first goal for Shooting Stars. And then the chairman ran to the side and was celebrating with the players. There's nothing bad in you celebrating in the box where it has been provided for you. But when you come to the sideline and then you start pointing to the player, you celebrate with them. Yes, it's fine. They're happy that the chairman is in the mix with them. But what that says is that when they don't get the goal, there's something they don't want to imagine what will happen. So this should not be in the play at all. Now, let me cite an instance. The last administration, people always say, oh, I compare this administration with the last administration of Shooting Stars. Yes, we'll juxtapose and see where positives and negatives are to see how we can actually fine-tune what we currently have on ground and then move forward from there. So, when Olani Okoro was the chairman of Shooting Stars just last season, yes, he would always come to the sideline, but not to interfere with play. Sometimes he just wants to interact with the fans and then appreciate them and then go back to his box. And then when the match ends, he wants to greet the players, the third official, the match commissioner, greet the players and then walk away. Those were his roles then. Yes, that was understandable. But you staying close to the coach and saying, look, let's do it this way. That's not your problem. You have never been a coaching school. You do not have a CAF license nor a FIFA license to be a coach. You do not have a UEFA C or B or A license to be a coach. So that means it's not your job. Leave it alone and let the person that will do the job do it. If Awero is not, competent to be on the sidelines, I don't think Toby will bring him to Shooting Stars because the job was practically given to Toby. Okay, give us a coach that that will be able to do the job next season, and said, look, I can vouch for Roger Awero, and they brought him on board. To me, I think I have seen a slight difference in how Shooting Stars play. But the only problem is they have not been able to drive it home and then make it count.
Make it count. Give us results.
If you watch Shooting Stars last season and you watched the first 20 minutes of what they played against Ikorodu City, you would love Shooting Stars because there is a contrast in what we saw last season and what we saw in the first 20 minutes. Now, what happened? Why did they deviate from how they started the game to something else and started playing Ikorodu City style? That is the mental ability to stick to game plan. So whose fault is that? Not the coach. Who is the psychologist? Who is the physiotherapy in the team? Okay, if you think, oh, coach, I have an advice for you. So player might not be able to last more than 45 minutes with this kind of play. Okay, let's keep him on the bench. Let's bring someone on board that can actually start the game. And then when we need them, we'll bring him on board. It's fine. But we now even see old players who you would tag old players doing exceptionally well in that team. Gali Falke is not 21 or 22. He's one of the veterans you have in the team, the captain of the team. He was here and there on the field. Yes, he had his own fair share of mistakes, but most definitely he compensated for his hard work on the field. Now, you have Ayobami Jr. that you call Agba. he was on the field of play. As old as people would say he is, he was probably the only shining light you saw in the midfield. Yeah. Now, you are talking about Sadiq Ibrahim. He was in the team last season. But when you talk about the front line of Shooting Stars, he was the only player you would say, this is the moment he was substituted at the beginning of the second half. There was practically nothing up front for Shooting Stars. Now, you don't want to fault Ayobami, Ismail Ayobami, who for one reason or the other was not in the game. That was why I was saying, if there are too many instructions for these players, one thing it does is that it boxes them to a corner. They want to play to instruction. There was a time Jose Mourinho, John Obi Mikel saga at Stamford Bridge. He was always given an instruction, don't go beyond the lines. And people were questioning, why is Mikel not going forward? Why is he not getting the goals? Michael Essien has been going back and forth and then he's getting the goals. I said to people, look, you cannot compare a player like Obi Mikel and Michael Essien. They are two different players. One, Obi Mikel is naturally a playmaking midfielder. Michael Essien knows about defending. So Michael Essien has the tactical know-how and the technical know-how to go forward and come back to resume his duty as a DM. True. But John Obi Mikel, when he leaves that DM role which he was converted to, travels, by the time he thinks about when to come back, something has happened at the back. Because naturally, he forgets himself. Because he knows he's a creative midfielder. So he's only a basic DM. So these are two different things. So when the coach tells a player, do not leave this place, it is because he knows that if you do, you might not be able to get it right, you might not be able to cover, and it's not that kind of player that is speedy. So automatically, you have to play to instruction. That is why you do not see Obi Mikel doing what Essien will do. Right. But then in his own field, he does what he knows how to do. Now, let's now talk about wing backs. We have so many players. Let's say, for example, Kyle Walker, who was once of Tottenham and then played for Manchester City. Kyle Walker is a player that is very fast. He's not too good when it comes to defensive abilities. I sometimes question his defensive abilities. But when it comes to him going forward, creating chances, and then when there's a problem, the first thing he does is he races back to where he's normally supposed to be and then covers up. Even though you are going to get past him, you will find him there. So these are things that Shooting Stars should be looking at. Now, do we have players who can actually carry out these instructions? Are we actually caging players who are meant to actually use their individual ingenuity in the team and, of course, get some things done? I think there are players who are creative in that team. There are players who can actually help the team. But one way or the other, I think there are too many instructions. And there are too many people involved when it comes to giving out instructions.
True.
What I know that usually happens is when you have an assistant coach. The assistant coach goes to, the manager and says, look, I think Ayobami Jr. is too slow. Tell him to pass the ball around more quickly. Tell him to play with the nearest man instead of going for the long balls and then that. The coach goes to the sideline. The manager goes to the sideline. Calls one player. Instead of disrupting the setup on the field of play, probably talks to the right back or the left back who is closer to him, and then the left back passes the message to the nearest man until he gets to Ayobami Jr. at the center of the field. That's how information is passed on the field of play. But now you see an assistant coach going straight to a player, giving instructions. The coach comes, giving a different instruction, and then the chairman is doing like this on the sideline, and then somewhere, the psychologist is also doing the sign. It gives you confusion.
How many of them even understand, the technical know-how of these instructions? Is another question, because sometimes when you pass information to some players and you tell them, you give them some terminologies, they don't understand it. So you are giving a player a big terminology to understand, and is wondering. All of a sudden, another person is raising up hand again to say. Then in my head, I'm
it's the African way of playing football. Now the whites don't play 99.9% of their football on the field. Most of the time, about 30% of how they train is done in a room.
In the room, true. Watching videos.
You watch old videos of your opponent. You watch, a breakdown of your own game. Which you played.
Personally.
You did this. You shouldn't have done this. It's not about them telling you. You see yourself fail. And then they tell you how not to fail the next time. But here, we give manual instructions. It is most times, we don't
go back to check our mistakes.
When you write the exam and then everything is more or less like, probably you are in class and everything you do is not practical. There are most times theory. All the times theory. Then there's a problem. Because when it comes to you being able to transfer that into activities, getting the things done on the field, you might not be able to do it. Yeah, we talk about that in the education sector too. That most times you see people saying, oh, I want to go to the university, and then you are taught everything on the board, and then you go, you are given a book, you have read, you understand, everything is in your head, but then they have given you a spanner to actually, just do something on the vehicle as an engineer, and you cannot do it.
It's not about what you
know on paper. So now you will see a mechanic that has gone to learn for 2 years, doing way better than an engineer that spent 4, 5, 6 years in the university. That's not rocket science. It is common sense. Now, what I expect them to do now is, instead of just saying, oh, run here, run there, after all that is done, why don't you go back to your room? Yes, we played this game, then project on the screen. You saw your mistake. You don't do this. You do this. So this is way beyond that. I think I saw a video. I think they currently do something similar at Shooting Stars. But it was done on the field. The one I saw. Coach Nuru was actually telling, I think, Alamin that, oh, when you come and you contest for an header that you eventually won, you don't stay there. You go back. Let the player be behind the player that has actually contested with you, because when the ball comes back, it's right behind you, and the central defender that is on the same line with you might have actually placed that player onside. That means you are at fault. So when you don't cover up after you have contested for a ball, then it's a problem. These are things you should be doing. And I think going forward, Shooting Stars, they already know where the problem is coming from, unless they are not listening to what we have been saying. But when they go ahead and then correct these mistakes, I know that they currently have some players in that team who can actually make some difference.
All right, we are talking Shooting Stars, and we are hoping for the very best for them away from home against Rivers United. Still talking sport this wonderful morning on the local front. We are looking at also Kano Pillars are not looking good for them this season. Just one draw and 2 losses on the run for Kano Pillars. And Ahmed Musa, the chairman of Kano Pillars, are still playing football for Kano Pillars. Is back, after the injury scare match day 2 for Kano Pillars, and there they are, as for you, Kano Pillars are not on a good run of form this season. I know it's just we can say it's early, hours in the season, but I think the best you can do is get the wins on front, get it on time, so that as the game progresses, you can have other reasons to say, okay, if I get this draw, get this loss, I can manipulate myself going forward in the season. But you have Kano Pillars not getting the result after match day 3. For you, there they have it. What can they do also to get back in form? Their captain is back. The chairman is back, Ahmed Musa.
Like Samson said about Shooting Stars, they need to go. Kano Pillars has to go back to the drawing board. Let's be honest. I mean, we have the so-called superstar Ahmed Musa there. He has to do something. I mean, how many goals has he got this season? He's meant to be a goal getter. He's meant to be a goal getter. He's meant to be a forward, He's meant to be a striker. But what's it called? I look at, and I'm sorry, I'm not being nice this morning. But sorry, why is Ahmed Musa still there?
Yeah, come on.
Please answer me. Samson, I think why is
one of the problems that we have, failed to spot in African football is the fact that we do not celebrate what we have. Now, let me explain to you. No, it's not a counter reaction to what you have said. Okay. But what I'm trying to say in essence is that one of the best ways to market the league is to bring back some superstars. Let me cite an instance. In Brazil, for example, no matter how many years you have spent abroad, your responsibility is to come back, just like military service in South Korea. Your responsibility is to come back and play for your whole team. And then, your stature, you bring that stature to the team. People want to see you, want to see Adriano, want to see so person, and then they come to the stadium to see you play. That's one of the gimmicks being used by Kano Pillars. And I think what is currently happening to Kano Pillars is not limited to just Kano Pillars. It is, if you look at most of the teams that have done serious branding so far this season, they're having this challenge. Shooting Stars, Kano Pillars, Sporting Lagos, Remo Stars too. They have won games, but they have not been convincing.
Yeah, true.
So what they are doing is they have just been pushing on, as the defending champion. So some people still fear them. Oh, they won the league last season, so they respect them. But if the respect is not there, like they did not win the league last season, they also will be struggling. So if you check all the teams, about 6 or 7 of them that have done serious branding this season, they're having that challenge. And that what does that tell you is that they have not been able to separate branding from football.
But so if you are not having that issue.
If you're
now we're saying that you know, if you look at Remo Stars at this point in time,
they are convincing.
No, it's not convincing. It's struggling.
No, you don't. He said they've not been convincing with their style of play.
I agree with that.
Remo Stars has been actually all right. At least we watch them. They're not even playing at home, and they're playing away. They're playing in another stadium.
Now that's another mistake you people make. That's another mistake you people. Regardless of where you play. Regardless of where you play, if you're a good team, you will win.
That's what I'm saying.
So don't tell me they don't play at home. They make their place their home, and they have been telling people to come watch them, and people have been coming in to watch them. That's not an excuse. If you have failed, you have failed.
They've made the place for me.
They have not been convincing this season. They have been struggling, regardless of if they have won. Okay, they went to Kun Khalifat. They won by 2 goals to 1. Yes, they struggled there. Kun Khalifat was a team that was defeted by another team 2 goals to nothing over the weekend. Now
they played Rivers United.
They played the 1-0 draw.
Yeah. Also, the last game 1-0. So come on.
They've not been convincing.
Yes, out of possible 9. Yes, they are 7. But a problem is looming if care is not taken.
I agree.
Moving forward, check other teams that have done serious branding. Ikorodu City have been going from one place to the other, getting
also struggling.
They have been going one place to the other to get views. What they have been saying is, let's just relax and then get a goal and then move on. So out of possible 9 points, they have 3. Shooting Stars of Ibadan, out of possible 9 points, they have 2. So now check Kano Pillars. Out of possible 9 points, they have just one. So it's not just about. What I'm trying to say is separate. What the people in Sena Climb, what they do is that it is not really your responsibility. In fact, most of the things when they do branding, they do most of it unconsciously to these players, right? You are busy doing your thing, and then someone takes a video of you and they post it. So it's not like you have been made a content creator out of the blue, and then your attention is shifted from what you are meant to do on the video, and then you suddenly become the content creator. Now, Remo Stars were able to do it for 2 or 3 seasons consecutively. They've been branding the players because if you brand your players, what it brings to the table is it brings you an opportunity to brand the team.
Brand the team, yeah.
And then when you brand the team, investors will come naturally because they want to identify with the brand you have created. Now, Shooting Stars and other teams who are really venturing into branding these days, yes, they are doing fine when it comes to branding. They are improving, they are ever evolving. We are seeing new things regularly. But the truth is, let's now draw a line between branding and good football, between branding and results. If you're able to do that, you will separate all these things. Now, Ahmed Musa, for example, yes, you might want to say, what is he doing in the team? He brings a lot to the table. He's the chairman, he's the captain of the team, he plays for the team. But the role probably is too much on him.
It's too much on him, I agree. I agree with Fola.
But will you blame Ahmed Musa, only Ahmed Musa for the problem? You have Pele, a 44 or 45-year-old midfielder who has been around for a long time, I think about almost 20 years now, has played the NPFL. He has been there consistently churning out results. He's also on the team. There are other players in that team. So it's not limited to Ahmed Musa. If Ahmed Musa is on the field of play and there's no pass, even if he's inside the net, he will not score a goal. So what I'm trying to say in essence is draw a fine line between branding and football. If you're able to do that, then it means that when you are branding. And when you have shifted your attention to playing football, you are playing football. When you are managing a team, you are managing a team. And when you are playing football, you are playing football. So be able to divide your brain into two. That, okay, when I'm doing this, or probably create a different persona. When you are doing this, this is me. And then when you are doing other things, you can, as an actor, how we switch roles. You are asked to cry, the next minute you are asked to smile, and then these are all. So if you are able to do that, I think too many people in Africa, what I see is that it's more or less like a straitjacket thing for them. This is me, I do not change, and this is how I do my thing. But it's becoming a challenge for these teams. And unless something is done, you will realize the fact that people will now say, upon all the branding you have done, so what's the result you can show?
So a quick one, Samson, before we move on to the NFF story making the rounds this morning. For you, what's the solution for Kano Pillars to start getting results?
Well, the solution is not far-fetched. Now, the coach has to do what we call inside analysis. You know, check the team. Where are we getting it wrong? Because one of the things they have not been able to do so far this season is to keep the ball. That is one. Two, the other one is being able to convert chances, the little they have created. But I will say they have not created enough chances. Yeah. So now, when it comes to creating chances, what would you do? You have players in the team and ask them questions. So what exactly is the problem? You know, you see, it's a challenge when you think you are the problem, and then you are putting all the problem on your own head, whereas there are some other people who can actually help you, and they also know they are the problem. But because you have not told them, we all have a problem, let's come together and settle this problem, they leave you to it, and then when you have failed, nobody sacks 24 players because of one coach. So automatically a coach will leave because of 24 or 25 players. So what you have to do is to call a crisis meeting. There's nothing bad in you saying, look, we have a problem. How do we go about this? And then when you sign too many players, as I always said, it is difficult for you to determine who your starting 11, first 11, second 11, and then when you want to sub, you give yourself a headache. You don't even know if Chukwudi or Chima is the best player to come on board. Have you discovered which player in your team can play 3 or 4 different positions that when you want to substitute just one player, you can change to 3 or 4 different formations? Same field.
I agree with that.
But Pep Guardiola, Jose Mourinho, Carlo Ancelotti, with just one player, they can switch from 1 to 2, 3 or 4 formations on the same field of play. You have seen Carlo Ancelotti substitute just one player, go back to diamond formation, play 4-4-2 diamond formation, play 4-3-3, play 3-5-2 with just one substitution. Also, Mourinho has done it before. Just one play. Just Michael Essien can change the trajectory of the field and change the whole formation. So these are things we should be looking at. Yes, we are doing better when it comes to branding. But in terms of technicality of how we play, can we also improve? Right. Can we also see good football? Can we also see that our coaches are knowledgeable and then they will not go and bring a Richels from Mali to coach the national team? If we are able to discover quality coaches here. Now, we were talking about some coaches that sprang up in the last 5-6 years in the MPFL. That's when you talk about Daniel Ogumodede. That's when Fidelis Idechukwu. What's this former team in Lagos? I want to remember this team in Lagos. Not Sporting. Paul Okafor. Yes, these are quality coaches springing up in the MPFL. Now, we have seen what they have done. Can we also encourage them, give them more responsible roles? I mean, where they can actually be, play bigger roles. If that is done, I think I don't want to believe that the current crop of coaches in the MPFL are the only quality hands we have. Can we encourage other people to see them do things? Amazing. I think most big teams the fear of the unknown is actually the problem. Nobody wants to give Paul Okafor the job at Kano Pillars or Katsina United because they think he has not gotten to that stage yet. But have you given it to him before? Chelsea, for example, trusted a coach from Brighton and Hove Albion, Graham Potter. Yes, even though he failed, but they did it. So they have trusted Enzo Maresca from Leicester City, a team that just came back from relegation, and is doing fine. So it tells you that it's not about the size of the team, it's about the quality of player and the technical know-how of the coach. If those things are put together, the coach will achieve success, and that's what you are seeing at Chelsea as we speak. All right. Come on. When we talk sports here.
Please wait. Why is Samson not one of the people that we're even considering to say, okay, should go and coach Kano Pillars? Why haven't you? That's the difference. I do not have a coaching license. I'm not a coach. But I can do.
So
I beg you.
So the problem is, Samson can talk and analyze the game for you, but I'm sure when it comes to, coaching players, he might not be able to understand.
Two different. That's one of the problems. That's the problem we also have. In Nigeria, because someone knows football so much, he might be able to succeed as a
coach. Talk about the technical.
He can speak about it, but he might not even be able, to place it on the players to say, okay, have this duty. You can see something say this today, tomorrow, next week, and at the end of the day, it might not turn out result for you with a team. It's possible. JJ Okocha made a statement yesterday saying, people were clamoring for him to come coach, the Super Eagles of Nigeria, and he said, come on, I might be a good player, but I might not be good.
You're going to be a good coach.
Yeah, come on. Let's move
We have seen superstars who have
He's a
failed.
good coach.
For example,
honestly speaking.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came to Manchester United, a
Yeah.
fantastic player during his
Fantastic
time,
player.
but didn't really meet up with the expectations. Though he did not fail, I'll put it that way,
No,
because he has even
for me,
succeeded more than what we
more than
currently
all
have.
the coaches we have, honestly speaking. So, but
he really did not
Nobody
live up.
can take that opinion
what
from
that
my mind.
what that
I
tells
stand
you,
on my
I might just
opinion.
coach Dominion FC anyway.
okay, that's
but
fine.
what that tells you is that when you have succeeded as a player, you should be wary of becoming a coach. Reason being that people will place your career as a player side by side with that of a coach.
Yes,
so if you have not lived up to expectation, even if you are side by side with what you achieved as a player and as a coach, people will still see you as a failure. So people expect more from you because of what you did as a player. So if you are a player, you are doing fantastically well. Like Cristiano Ronaldo said, he said doesn't even think he's going to become a coach because he knows that any small mistake will be considered a failure. So people will now begin to rub that on his glorified career, and that will be a problem for him going forward.
All right, let's move away from that. Let's take more stories making the round in the world of sport at this wonderful morning, and we are talking the NFF. Remember yesterday we gave a report saying that they called out a series this as Troost Ekong, ahead after the game against South Africa. But right now they are saying we did not approve of any statement like that. NFF disowns a press release blaming Ekong Desas for the South Africa draw. We did not approve it, and we are saying that it's a controversial press release that blamed the two Super Eagles players for the team 1-0 draw against South Africa in the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifying match. Right there, the statement which was issued on Tuesday night by the Federation Communications Department. However, in a telephone interview with journalist Omofewa, the NFF General Secretary Mohamed Sanusi denied the Federation sanctioned the statement. It was a painful result, but as believers, I know that whatever comes is from God, Sanusi said. We are not happy and we apologize to all Nigerians, but I saw the press release the same way everyone else did. The NFF did not authorize anyone to publish such statements, as Sanusi emphasized the importance of collective responsibility in both victory and defeat. And I quote, "We are proud of our players." He added, blaming individuals is not acceptable. When we win, it's a team effort, and when we lose, it's the same. No single player should be held responsible. He also praised the series Desas and Troost Ekon's contribution to Nigeria's football, calling for more respect and unity. Something quickly for you.
No, I'm just curious. Has anyone been booted out of office this morning just because of that?
Everyone making that. They want the person that made that statement. That statement should not be in office.
Has that person been booted out of the office?
As of now,
don't be surprised. They will release another press statement on behalf of the NFF next week, or maybe tomorrow, or maybe in the evening. See, the problem we have always had is people are not allowed to take responsibility for every mess they created. Now, if you really want to tell these players that, oh, this is not our doing, it was so person, then let that person go. Sack that person. Immediately. And that tells...
Let's see the report that morning that this person has been sacked.
That's the point.
See, the truth of the matter is, when this happens in the Senna climbs, nobody has to tell you to resign. No. You know that you are done.
Immediately.
Automatically. Once that is done and you realize there's a backlash, that comes with what you have done, your role that has been given to you, all you do is to walk away silently. Nobody has to do that. And the thing now is, I think the NFF, I think they are just trying to cover up for what they have done. I do not believe that was not sanctioned.
That was not sanctioned, yeah.
Because the role you have given to the spokesperson of the NFF is that you are more or less like the mouthpiece of the organization. So if there's anything, just say something.
Say something
and just publish something.
I will sweep it under the carpet again.
Now,
and we go again.
That's it. So when this now happens, that person has delivered the message you sent him to deliver. And then all of a sudden you are saying, oh, you are distancing yourself from what has happened. But in the real sense of it, are you truly apart from what has been said? It means you are complicit. If you have not told the person to resign or be sacked. I do not believe that the NFF do not know anything about this.
True. I agree.
What this does to a team is that you will now have more players who will give you below par performance when they come around. Reason is when they succeed, nobody praises them. But when they fail, someone or some people are singled out for faults or blames, And that's a challenge because no reasonable football team does that. No reasonable coach does that. And no reasonable chairman of a team does that. When Marinakis of Nottingham Forest did something like that, it became a problem between himself and what's his name? Who has just been sacked at Espirito Santo. Nuno Espirito Santo of Nottingham Forest. Yeah. They almost had a one-on-one problem on the sidelines. See, you don't talk to me like that, and you don't talk to my players like that. So the essence of you publishing something after the match is to tell the people how you as a body, how you feel. Yeah. How the players currently feel. Yeah. Now, someone has to say that on behalf of everyone. Not everyone will be able to publish a statement. Yeah, now, if you have published this and singled out two players for the faults that happened, this same player has given you about 10 years of his career playing for the Super Eagles. Cyril Zezas, yes, he has not been consistent in the team. He has been in and out. But then, for you to have called a player and be on a flight to come to Nigeria to play, followed you to South Africa to play, that means there is a form of connection. That's sacrifice. There are some other players who were actually at Ibiza. As at that time you were playing, some of them were somewhere in Greece, having fun, probably in Athens, sightseeing. But these players left what they could have called an holiday. And they left families to come around. When I say an holiday, holidays are meant to be spent with family and then, but then they left what is meant to be called an holiday to come play for Nigeria. True. A reasonable person would not, nail them to the cross because if he was like, you have the power to write and then publish. So, no two players can actually qualify a team for a tournament unless the team can do it collectively. Now, you can now say, we created chances, so person did not, convert. What if another player was there and that player did not convert chances? But as it stands, I'm still expecting the news that whoever published that story should be sacked. You could remember there was a time too when, I think at News Agency of Nigeria or something, that a story was published about a particular team that was meant to lose and then eventually they won. Someone already published, in the first half someone already published that someone had lost. So the truth of the matter is, we should desist from, spreading news that can incite people against the nation, incite the nation against the people and things like that.
All right. That's the update coming through from the NFF. Let's take more stories. This is coming through from Aruna Quadri at the WTT champions right there. Marco, the round of 16. Aruna Quadri cruises into the WTT champions, the Marco round of 16. Nigerian Quadri Aruna got off to a flying start at the WTT champions Marco 2025, overpowering China's Wang Zheng in the straight games to secure a place in the men's singles round of 16. The world number 26, who has struggled for consistency in recent months, looked revitalized in the Marco East Asian Games dome, sweeping aside the wild card entry in 11-3, 11-8, 11-8. Aruna registered 33 points in total, with 19 coming on a serve on 14 in his opponent compared to Wang 19 overall. The victory set up a round of 16 tie for Nigerian Star against the winner of Wednesday's match between Germany's Patrick Vranska and 6th seed Zheng Peng of China. That's the update coming through from the WTTA and WTT, and we are open for the very best for Aruna Quadri. Let's take more stories making the round right about now. These are the teams that have qualified for the FIFA World Cup next year, 2026. Let's have that displayed on the screen so the sporting family can see. There you have Mexico, USA, and Canada. These are the host nations. Then you have Japan, Iran, Uzbekistan. We have South Africa. We have Jordan. We have Australia. We have Morocco, Tunisia, we have Brazil, we have Ecuador, we have Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay, we have Colombia and New Zealand. So these are the teams who have made qualifications already for the World Cup. Let's move away from all stories still making the round in the world of sport on Dominion Sport this wonderful morning, where we see Pep Guardiola. It looks like an injury for him this season, and he has a game against Manchester United right there. It's the Manchester derby by 4:30, but tomorrow we're going to discuss that lengthy, but let's look at the injuries, for Pep Guardiola. Right about now, Omar Mamouche is set to be sidelined out of the game against Manchester United. We have Phil Foden, Savinho, we have Kashinov, we have Yasko Vardiol. We can go on. We have Mark O'Reilly. For you, Samson and Fola, this injury, to Pep Guardiola, another loss for him against Manchester United. Remember, he has only defeated Ruben Amorim just once.
You see, you know, what injury does to a team is it incapacitates them, it decimates the team, and then you are not allowed, or you cannot play your best 11. Some players have to come in, probably from the academy or one place or the other. But the truth of the matter is, this is a game between two struggling teams. So I do not believe Pep Guardiola will feel this too much.
Yeah,
Manchester United.
I was about to say that. Actually,
I think Cunha too is also out injured, and then you know, so there are other players too at Manchester United who are also.
So you agree that this is a game between two struggling teams?
This is a game between two struggling teams. Manchester City visibly struggling, Manchester United obviously struggling. So there's nothing spectacular about these two teams this season. But what I feel for Pep Guardiola, I really feel sorry for him. He's struggling, and he's also having most of his best players actually out injured. What that you know, brings to his table is makes him think harder on who can fill certain positions, at least for the meantime until his players return. But then, you know, it's actually important, and it's not a good thing, but I will say to him now, it's a good thing that he's having this set of injuries at the beginning of the season. Because if it had been at the point where you're already gaining momentum, and then injuries start setting in when they were already having high hopes of winning the league, and then it starts to have this kind of issue, automatically, you know, this actually puts an end to their hopes and aspirations for the season. So as it stands, there's still a chance that as these players will meet up, you know, as the season goes on.
All right. Quick one for let's move away from there. Let's take transfer. Andre Onana has moved right there to Turkey at Trabzonspor. It's the new home for Andre Onana. There you have it, you know, on the screen. And let's move on to the next slide so we can see. There you have it. Andre Onana, 1 or 2 games for Manchester United, 150 goals conceded, 24 clean sheet, 1 trophy. For you, you know, Onana, move away from your club side, Manchester United, a good one for you? Or do you think you still need Onana in your team?
Well,
looking at the record.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Let me say bye-bye to him. But what is it called? Well, he has given, don't let me say he hasn't done anything. He has given his best. What he could have done for Man U. Well, we thank him for what he has done for us, and we thank him for how long he stayed with us. There's nothing more we can, you know, we cannot say, okay, stay by force, by fire. If you don't stay, your career will be over. No. But in fact, to the beginning of this season, he was already, you know, he had considered some very obvious goals that we were wondering, okay, what's wrong with Onana? Is it that he wanted to leave? Is it that he wants to leave Man U? That's why he's not, you know, giving us what he used to give us. So bye-bye to him.
Has there ever been a time that Onana gave Manchester United? I do not believe that.
No, he tried. He tried what he could have done.
See, Onana has left, right?
Yes.
He has left Manchester United. Some people would, you know, maybe bring a sight of relief, fresh air, a sight of relief that, oh, yes, he's gone. But have they solved the problem? No.
You guess not.
You just brought in a goalkeeper from Belgium. Who most likely will not walk into the starting 11. So after Bayern continues as the number 1, who obviously has also made mistakes so far this season. And then when he's probably dropped, you bring in Lemons, who will be in goal, and then he's a young goalkeeper, inexperienced. And then there will be a problem.
So
if Onana has left, have you solved the problem? No. So the problem continues.
No, I'm not saying
keep dancing to the tune of the problems.
Okay, we've not solved it. We've not solved it. Yes, I agree. But at the end of the day, bye-bye.
Let's take more stories from the transfer front before we wrap up the show. Christian Eriksen to Wolfsburg is done and dusted. Did in place for medical examining for Manchester United player. Eriksen accepted the proposal as deal can be considered done as reported. New chapter for the Danish star. Also, we have Lucas Fabianski also extending his contract with West Ham United. Also, let's get more stories, you know, from the world of sport. There you have Isak also finally having a training with the side of Liverpool. For you, Samson, do you think this man can hit the form he did for Newcastle with Liverpool quickly?
Yes, I think so. He's a quality striker. He's a goal-getter. We have seen that with Newcastle United, who is a lesser team to Liverpool. So at Liverpool, he has more you know, weapons in his arsenal to actually display. When you look at the current crop of creative players in that Liverpool midfield, you would be wondering the next thing you'll be thinking about how many goals will score this season. Because if you continue, Cody Gakpo is there, you have Ugo Ekitike who can also play, who can play on the left and also at the center. You have Dominic Szoboszlai.
Yes, you have Dominic Szoboszlai, you have McAllister.
So these are quality players. So in playing with these players, I think at Newcastle United, there are just 2 players that I feel like would walk into a big team in the EPL, maybe team in the top 5, and then walk into the starting 11. Maybe Sandro Tonali and Bruno Guimaraes. These are the quality midfielders at Newcastle United. But aside from that, I don't think you know, you can compare Newcastle in terms of creativity to Liverpool.
All right, we're wrapping up the show. Let's just have the basketball Eurobasket semi-final picture displayed. Thank you so much, for producer. That you have Greece against Germany, and remember you have Giannis Antetokounmpo right there in that one for Greece. It's going to take on Germany, and also we have Turkey against Finland. We'll be here to discuss more on that top quarterfinals performance right there. You have it on the screen, but we're going to be here again to discuss the Eurobasket right here on Dominion Sports. That's all we can take on the show this wonderful morning. Friday is going to be another exciting time to join us on the show. We'll be looking at the Premier League is back, the Spanish La Liga, the German Bundesliga, the Serie A, and also we'll be looking at the MPFL right here on Dominion Sport. I'm going to say big thank you to my producers and the crew, and also thank you to the expert analyst on the show this wonderful morning, the captain himself, Samson Balogun. Thank you so much for joining us. Also, Folayegbe, thank you for giving us your 2 cents on the conversations this wonderful morning. All right, the sporting family, that's all we can take on the show. I remain Paul Abe Toluwanimi. We're going to see you again tomorrow. Thank God it's Friday. Have a wonderful day. Bye for now.